Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Breeze. Breezeway Productions, The Breeze. We bring you the latest in independent films and film festival news. And we have with us today Alex Winter, friend of the channel. We've spoken with a couple of times over the years. So good to see you back, Alex. How are you?
Thank you. Yeah, really good. Good to be back.
Right on. So today we're talking about the YouTube effect. So why don't you give us a refresher about the YouTube effect?
Well, I mean, this is a film that charts the rise of YouTube from the beginning, and then kind of how this amazing giant behemoth became somewhat of a runaway train, still doing incredible things and many good things all over the world, but also driving a lot of misinformation and hate speech and the implications of a platform and a community this large, because it is the largest media platform on the planet by an order of magnitude. So it felt like that side of the story hadn't really been told. When you have a company as big as Google that has a media platform this big, that has this much influence, what are the implications of that influence? That's what we wanted to look at.
Yeah, I found it very interesting and compelling to see the progress of YouTube from where it started, its very humble beginnings, to where it is and how it continues to grow. How is it like getting access to the individuals that actually created YouTube so that you're able to sit down and have the conversations with them?
Well, I think that, to their credit, I think they've often been very willing to talk about the company and what they're trying to do. So, and I was very clear about what we were doing. They were looking at the good and the bad and everything in between. So it was really helpful to me to be able to sit down with Steve Chen, who was one of the founders of YouTube from the jump, and Susan Wojcicki, who really has been with Google from the beginning of Google, and was the one who really spearheaded the sale of YouTube, the purchase. So, these are very significant insiders who are also really interesting people in their own right in terms of their relationship to technology and the rise of the technology revolution. And then other people like Natalie Wynn and Carrie Goldberg and people who are really kind of inside what's going on and have been around through the rise. Anthony Padilla from Smosh. I was important to have a cast of characters that really were very close inside the rise of the company.
Yeah, you also showcase in terms of not just the rise of YouTube, but like the rise of the influencer. VidCon just passed, and that usually brings together the people that are the biggest YouTubers to talk about the latest in trends in YouTube. I always think that it's pretty fascinating to see how it works with the science. Do you believe that after you've done this research into YouTube, they have control over this entity, or is it really just kind of its own beast at this moment, because there's so much information and so much content that is coming out on it? Do you think they have a handle on it?
No, I don't. I think that would be somewhat impossible, to be honest with you. I think that there's several things at play. There's an algorithm, which I think they have done work on. They did a lot of positive work on the recommended algorithm, which was kind of causing havoc when it was first introduced, and is much better now, to be fair to them. It's much less likely that you're just going to start getting recommended a bunch of hate-filled garbage if that's not what you're actively seeking out when you get on the platform. My kids are all on YouTube, and they're not getting pumped full of guns and ammo and stop the steal stuff all day long. But the parasocial aspect, the sort of you and me sitting together looking through a webcam at each other, is very, very powerful. And the business model of incentivizing keeping the eyeballs on platform to monetize those eyeballs, that's an issue. And that's very unwieldy. And I think that there's a little bit of disingenuity going on if they're saying that, advertisers wouldn't want to attach themselves to hate-filled content, because they do, and it makes them tons of money. And I think that is an issue, and that is a bit of a runaway train, because it's very hard for them to be incentivized to stop attaching ad dollars to hate speech, because they have shareholders, and the shareholders would freak out if the profits started to plummet, which they would. So if you want to keep your profits high, you got to keep the hate speech high, because that's where you're monetizing a lot of your content.
It's really awful to see. I know that Black Mirror just did an episode actually where it was the biggest one of the season, the first one. They're showcasing the woman's life, and then they tried it on the positive side of things, but it didn't do well in a test audience, and the negative side of things did better for a test audience. So it's really sad to see that the things with the negative stigma are the ones that attract those types of advertising dollars. But we hope to change that. It is a platform with a lot of great things, interesting things, weird things that are on it. It spawned creators that have definitely done well for themselves, like Mr. Beast, who's one of them. That's probably the most well-known. I think that it's all fascinating. And my last question that I have is, we're entering an age of AI. Artificial intelligence is really entering the scene, especially in, this type of, internet style, from Web 2 to Web 3 and things like that. What are your thoughts on how AI will impact YouTube as a channel?
Well, I think it will impact it because I think AI, which is kind of a catch-all term for a lot of different processes, not to get sort of boring and technical on everybody, but like it's sort of AI has become like the Kleenex of like all things that involve machine learning, which is a lot of things.
Yeah.
So it's already, I mean, AI is already being used by platforms like YouTube, and it has been for many, many years. And the advances, the acceleration in AI is going to impact YouTube in obvious ways. There's certainly things with like deep fake technology and the rise of that will be problematic to a degree. Who's talking in a political climate when you have an election coming up, fake political ads with people saying things they're not really saying. In that way, we're going to see some issues arising over the next year or two, for sure. But I think, not to be hyper negative about everything, there's a lot about the whole idea of machine learning that's extremely important, and that will drive very positive innovation. And that is a lot of stuff that's under the hood that most of the public won't see, but will make a lot of these platforms work better.
Yeah, from your mouth to the tech developers' ears, I really hope that is the truth, and I definitely look forward to seeing what the future brings. So the YouTube effect, when and where can people go to find out more about it? When will it be released?
It's coming out July 7th in theaters all over the country. So you can go to yteffect.com, which is our website, and see all the places that it's playing. You can go to Alamo Drafthouse, the Drafthouse movies website. And then we're going to be out streaming first week of August all over the world. So
Nice.
It will be hopefully hard to miss. And there'll be plenty of our content on YouTube because that's how we roll.
Including this content as well. So YouTube is still, it's an amazing platform where you can put, a lot of creation that's on it. So who knows what the future will bring, but I can tell you right now, it will bring the YouTube effect. So Alex Winter, thank you so much for joining us on The Breeze to talk about the YouTube effect.
Thank you.